But in order to get, more cash flow through the doors, they're selling higher ticket items to companies to where it's like, hey, they're coming in and doing more consulting work. Whereas, in the beginning, doing stuff like that for the founder, where they're doing one-on-one consulting work, where they can charge maybe $5,000 up front versus their normal software, where it's, maybe $200 a month. It's not scalable, but it's getting money through the door to where after 6 months, you can kind of just stop doing that.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, John, why do we see again and again, because I'm very close to the space, a lot of great products out there in the tech space and in traditional business also that never see the light because entrepreneurs don't understand this concept and don't take sales and marketing seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, building a great product is awesome, and you really need all cylinders when you're growing and scaling a large business. But one of the big things that I see, like you were saying before, is a lot of these guys know how to build great products, but if you can't go out and actually convert that into sales, then you don't have a business. So a big thing is that I like to say is like, hey, you can have the greatest product, but if you don't have great distribution, then it's nothing. A lot of times there's companies that have almost really just mediocre products, but they have great distribution, and that's why people know them.
Goes worse, John. We see in entrepreneurs, you see, they develop the product, they ask for money from friends and family to develop the great product, they remortgage the house, they ask to the friends, and after the product is big, that the big elephant doesn't know the marketplace want it or not, then they go to a VC and say, look, we want your money because we want to sell it. And the VC is telling, how you never sold any? How do you how I'm gonna give you my money if you don't know how to sell? You crazy? I said, no, but give me some funding and we sell it. But the dynamic doesn't really work like this. No VC, no any funding company in the right mind. We give a founder that hasn't sold anything money to go and sell because clearly the founder don't understand the business dynamic. Business doesn't really work like that. And we see a lot in first-time founders. Okay, they are a product person. They are a big fan of the product. They put a lot of time, money, and energy in the product. However, I've seen that second-time founders, they have a different approach. They are really well educated in sales and marketing. They know that this is the priority, and they put a lot of time, money, effort, and energy in sales and marketing, getting the product in front of people. And these first-time founder that they are in love with the product, second-time founder already know that the product is something that we can fix and will be fixed along the way. Out of the 500 million that I interview, no one had told me yet, Harry, you know what? I invented this product and it was so good that exactly how I designed it, I start to sell it like that. I haven't found anybody yet to tell me that story. You see? So it doesn't really work like this. So why do you think, John, that if we see this structure that actually is working, then we have so many companies out there because only a small percentage of the tech companies or the companies out there succeed. The rest, 98%, okay, only 2% are succeeding. Then next 98%, they are failing just only because what I'm describing to you, because rather than they put money, time, and effort in sales and marketing, and know that this is going to be the key factor in order for you to make the first million. Even if your product is not good, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the expert. Even if your product is not good, you will be able to make 1 million if you're very good at sales and marketing. And if you manage to improve your product, you will have repeating customers. Otherwise, you won't have repeating customers. But you will get
Right.
to 1 million, even if your product is not good. So why everybody take all the money, time, and effort and energy to make an amazing product that hasn't been in front of anybody? And then after they run out of money and capital and everything, they go, okay, John, help us. How are you gonna help them? They already eat all the money in the product.
Right.
They're tight. They're you have hands tight, and it
Mhm.
does happen a lot in business. So, what's your message for those entrepreneurs before they get to the point that there is no way back? Because I seen it. Harry, we're looking for funding, and when I'm looking into the business, I say, guys, but what you have done? You have no resources whatsoever, and now you want to penetrate the market with the product that there is a competition out there or whatever. It doesn't make sense. So, what message do you have for the founders out there?
Yeah. So, there's a couple of different things there. And I think we both definitely agree that, sales and marketing is, definitely a huge core foundation. I would say a lot of times when startups actually fail, it's because these founders think that, they're just thinking about what they like instead of what their audience actually needs. So they're building products based on their own preferences, not by going out and reverse engineering, what their audience problems are and what people would actually, most importantly, what people would pay to actually solve this. So even, strong ideas fail when, marketing actually speaks in the founder's voice, just instead of the customers. So, a lot of times you have people thinking, oh, well, I would definitely pay for this, but it's like, well, that's awesome, but would thousands of other people do the same? So if you're not clearly solving, a painful and valuable problem in your audience language, then people aren't gonna actually pay. And this
Mm-hmm.
also goes into pricing too, is a lot of business owners, for example, they want to sell extremely expensive products to an audience that is not very wealthy. For example,
Mm-hmm.
like I saw a guy who was trying to sell a subscription app to college students, but it was $200 a month. And while most entrepreneurs watching this may not think that's a lot, like at least just think back to when you're 18, 19. It's like $200 reoccurring. That's a lot of money. So you
For a
have to
student,
speak.
yes.
Exactly. You have to actually speak to your audience and see and do that properly, or else no one's going to buy it. So that's a big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that he's sitting in something powerful. It's just the business model that it doesn't work. Okay, at
Mhm.
this price point, something down the line in the operation is getting too expensive for him. That is with this price. But then, John, the other thing that we find is, you know what? I'm just gonna put 20% for marketing and sales because that's what all the major company does. Well, excuse me, this is what all the major company do once they build a system and they don't depend on the client anymore. Okay.
Mhm.
So of course,
Yep.
if you don't depend, if you have, let's say, McDonald's, okay, McDonald's, you don't depend on the client. Okay. They already know how to get the clients, they already know the system, and they already the franchise. So I guess, okay, they can have a steady 10, 20% in order for marketing and sales, because at the end of the day, they don't the client anymore. They know that TV advertising it just will keep the client flow and will increase it, or this technique or this strategy. However, when they started, it was not 20% what they had to put into this because nobody knew them. You nobody know who you are and nobody even know what you're gonna achieve. You actually
Right.
depend on the client. If you don't have a client, you don't have a business. So the dynamic, John, when you have an startup, until you reach a point, I don't know, you're selling 1 million, 10 million, right? On that bracket between 1 to 10 million, the company shift, and now you don't depend on the client anymore, meaning you already have a system, a process that you give clients and they buy your product, and it's all about training and HR and procedures and systems. That's what is
Mhm.
taking place in order to run these large companies have the dynamic change completely. Okay. So, and I think that people business and they read something, okay, Amazon or McDonald's or this company, this is the budget for sales and marketing. So you know what? Well, if they type, if they GPT, what are the marketing budget and sales for Facebook, Google, and all these big giants?
Right.
It's gonna give the number, and they say, okay, you know what? That's gonna be my budget for my startup. And so
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
really work like this, right? So tell us a little bit more, John, how this dynamic work, because it's completely different ball game when you're there from 0 to 1 million that nobody knows you, and you need to get the product out there. How much money, time, and energy is required versus when you reach to a point that you're selling 1 million, which you have technically product market fit somehow. Okay. I think
Mhm.
this is an analogy that I'm making. If you're selling 1 million, at least the people are buying your product in certain form. And if you're able to adjust, you will be able to scale and get more market share. So tell us about the dynamic, having a startup versus getting to product market fit, how the sales marketing flow goes, so our founders, they can have an idea how things actually work.
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, a big thing with startups is a lot of these, they're just trying to stay afloat with cash flow. And, majority of startups just fail because they don't have the money. They just run out of money. So a big thing that I see with a lot of startups that I'm working with is when they're first starting off, they're doing things that are not scalable. So what does that mean? For example, I work with a lot of, AI tech companies to where their main offer is, it's just automated, and it's more of a software play. But in order to get, more cash flow through the doors, they're selling higher ticket items to companies to where it's like, hey, they're coming in and doing more consulting work. Whereas, in the beginning, doing stuff like that for the founder, where they're doing one-on-one consulting work where they can charge maybe $5,000 up front versus their normal software where it's, maybe $200 a month. It's not scalable, but it's getting money through the door to where after 6 months, you can kind of just stop doing
100%.
that.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.